Do you want to welcome everybody,
Yeah.
Megan?
So, welcome to episode 5. We are talking about Think and Grow Rich, chapter 4, which is called Auto-Suggestion.
And what podcast is this?
And this is the self-help hangover podcast. So we just talked about chapter 3. We're moving on to chapter 4. And this one kind of reminded me of chapter 3 just because it talks a lot about like repeating things.
It's the same. He's talked about auto-suggestion in
Like every single
every chapter, right?
I was going to say, yeah, because he's probably trying to like, you know how repetition, so he's trying to repeat to get it in our brains.
Could be.
But so what do you think as far as like when he says that we're going to hear about the secret in each chapter?
I don't have we seen. I don't know. Maybe I'm not ready, but I'm not sure that I've gotten the second half of the secret yet.
Yeah, I don't think because I'm trying to remember. Like, I feel like last time I read it, I kind of came up with a conclusion of what I thought the secret was, but I'm trying to remember. I don't really remember what I had concluded. Because isn't there like, because I was reading something about how he kind of implies that like this quote unquote secret is just like the accumulation of these ideas, kind of like it's just like a bunch of ideas. Or I was seeing something that like someone's interpretation was that like,
I think if he really had it verbalized, that he couldn't resist writing it in words.
yeah.
I kind of feel like, okay, so the first half of it is that it all starts with an idea,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the second half of it is that you pursue that idea until it becomes a physical reality.
I think so too. Like, I think it's just like, I mean, this is so far, we're only on chapter 4, but I think it's like you have an idea and then you manifest that idea through mental repetition and taking actions towards that idea and persistence until it happens.
Yeah, I think so. And this chapter specifically about the manifesting part.
Yeah.
Right? Auto-suggestion. That is basically telling yourself that you have what you want, or that you are what you want to be, or that your idea is forming.
Yeah. In your mind. Yeah. And he talks about like the conscious mind is like, he says something about how it's like filtering, almost like things, like ideas are filtering through your conscious mind into your subconscious mind. And so through repeating, you're getting those ideas into your subconscious mind, and then they start to manifest there. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, I've heard a lot of things about the subconscious mind, how that's like what the subconscious mind has so much power that it manifests ideas into coming true. And like, if you believe something in your subconscious mind, that is so much more powerful because, for example, if you say like, I am a millionaire or something, I don't know, that's just an example, but like you just start to like believe that about yourself. And I think that's a powerful thing.
Now, do you have a statement that you read at morning and night?
So I don't have a statement, but I have a few things that I try to write down every morning. My New Year's goal was to write them down every single morning before I looked at my phone. I have gone a little off track. I've done it like a lot, but
do you have it memorized?
I mean,
and you write it down every morning?
I have, well, it's like 5 things I write down. Yeah. Okay. And it's like, I have blank. Like, I have this. Or like, I like make money through X and Y, Z. Okay. Like that kind of thing. And it's like, yeah, like I write it down like I already have it.
So I haven't done this for a while. And I tell my art classes, you know, it might seem really weird to do an affirmation like this. It might seem kind of hokey or something.
Yeah.
But I did it. I did it when I was a young person starting out. I got in front of a mirror and I said, I'm J. Kirk Richards and I'm the next Leonardo da Vinci. You know, I
Yeah,
was
that's
like,
awesome.
and I do think that it helped me just like my mind start thinking in terms of what decisions would I make if I were a great artist,
Yeah,
and what decisions do I make
exactly.
in order to become that great
Exactly, because
artist?
then it's like you put yourself in the shoes of like as if you already were, and it's like, oh, what would this type of person do? Like if I were like if I were like someone who was like if I were like a super athlete, what would I eat in the morning? Or like how long would I spend at the gym or and how many like that kind of thing. You just start to like think like that person that you're saying you are.
Yeah.
And you start to take steps towards becoming that person.
So basically, you like this idea,
I
auto
do like it.
suggestion.
Yeah, I really do.
Here's one. If you repeat, I'm reading from the book. If you repeat 1,000,000 times the famous Emile Coué formula, quote, day by day, in every way, I am getting better and better, unquote, without mixing emotion and faith with your words, you will experience no desirable results. Your subconscious mind recognizes and acts upon only thoughts which have been well mixed with emotion or feeling. What do you think about that?
I want to say that I don't agree with that because, but I mean, I want to say that because I feel like I need to do that more. I think writing it down is still powerful, but I do think that it is good to like mix emotion and faith with that. I do think like but I feel like sometimes by writing that down, like you already like invoke emotion because it's like I get excited when I write down my goals, and even if I'm not like consciously trying to like attach a feeling to it, it's like that's like exciting. Okay, so we're gonna do some advertisements. We're just advertising our own stuff.
Well, let's advertise Brian's stuff. So Brian is here. He is our audio engineer. Brian, he wrote and recorded our podcast music.
Yeah.
Right.
And he is the best. He wrote my song for my other podcast, and he's recorded everything for me. Whenever I have music or audio, I always go to Brian. And he's the best in town.
Hey, Brian, where can people... Do you want to hop on here for a second?
He's like, no.
Yes.
Just tell us about your... about you as a music artist and also as a music producer. How can people work with you?
Hello, my name is Brian, and I'm a music producer. And you can check out my solo work under the name Dahbose, Dahbose, on all streaming platforms. And you can find me on most socials under Dahbose Music. That's Dahbose Music. And if you need a music producer, I am your guy. So cool.
What kind of music should they expect at Dahbose?
Synthy stuff. Whatever you need, as long as it's synthy or not. I can broaden my horizons as well. But yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So yeah, we're glad to have Brian doing music for us, and back to the program. There's one thing that I don't really love about the statement, day by day, in every way, I'm getting better and better.
What? Wait, let me guess what you don't like about it.
Okay.
That not every day is the best day.
No,
Sometimes
but that's a good thing too.
yeah.
To not like. That's a good bad thing. No, I just think it's so abstract. Like
Yeah, it's not
how would you
specific at all.
measure better, and what does that even mean? Like
That's
day by day.
actually that's so true because I think it's important to have specific goals and to like specifically specify what what you want to improve on.
Yeah.
So I agree with that.
Well, how do you think we should put, according to Napoleon Hill, how do we put emotion and faith into our statement?
I think by meditating on it, like honestly how I think about it because I feel like I know exactly what he's talking about for me personally because if I like meditate, I have this very clear picture of like the person that I want to be and how it like feels like when I imagine that person. And if I like really like focus and just like am in silence and think about that person and like think about these aspects of my dream life that I'd like to have, there's like a very strong emotion associated with that. And so I feel like that's just what works for me. It's just like, and I used to always do guided future self meditations to do that, to like kind of like get to that place like visually where it'd be like, I'm envisioning like my future house, my future person, like what she wears and how she talks and how she feels to be around. But anyways, that's just really invokes a lot of emotion with me is just envisioning my future self and what she's like.
Cool.
What about for you?
Well, I think, back in the multi-level marketing days of my
Yeah.
youth, I used to, they used to say, you need to put your name in front. So that's what I was saying earlier. I said, I'm J. Kirk Richards,
Oh.
and it's not like I'm J. Kirk Richards and I'm going to do this, but it's like, this is my state right now.
But I am,
Like
yeah.
I am a great artist, I am making these things that I want to make or whatever.
Yeah. And I
Like,
like that, like saying that you are, like you already have it instead of saying, like, I will do this.
yeah.
I think it's effective to say, like, I am this and I have this.
Well, Napoleon Hill agrees with you. So, all right. Okay. So he basically, he gave that list of step-by-step list. And one of those was to create the statement and read it. And then the last one was to read it morning and night. Now he says you wrote a plan in those 6 things too. One of the things was to come up with a plan. Now he says actually, you don't actually need to have the plan at the beginning. Your subconscious mind will hand over the plan or plans you need. I'm reading from page 100 of this copy. Be on the alert for these plans, and when they appear, put them into action immediately. When the plans appear, they will probably flash into your mind through the 6th sense in the form of an inspiration. This inspiration may be considered a direct telegram or message from infinite intelligence. Treat it with respect and act upon it as soon as you receive it. Failure to do this will be fatal to your success. What do you think about that paragraph?
I really agree with the first part about like if you have a goal in mind and you really like think about it and focus on it, then your subconscious will start to like give you ideas of how to achieve that and like steps you can take. Cause I feel like I've experienced that in my own life. I think it's a little bit dramatic what he says about like if you don't act on it immediately, that's going to be fatal.
You
I
know what
think,
I think about that? I think that's dangerous.
yeah, I think, yeah, exactly.
And I'll tell you why. Well, from a religious perspective, it's too many people have gotten
Killed their children.
yes, too many people have killed their children for sure. But also just a flash, an idea, right?
Yeah.
That flash of an idea, not only do they take it as inspiration or a prompting, and then it rules,
Oh, yeah.
right? Like it'd be easy
Definitely.
for me to get, in fact, I had a prompting that I need to be an artist. Like I feel like this is my calling.
Yeah.
Now, it would be easy for me then to extrapolate from that anything that if it rubs up against like my wife's needs or her life mission, that mine takes precedence because I
Yeah.
had this inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really easy for those ideas to become gospel
Yeah,
for us
definitely.
in person, right? And to become inflexible around them. And sometimes those ideas might be scammy,
Yeah.
right? if you've got your statement, I'm going to get $1 million before the end of the year. It's November. I need 600,000
Yeah.
to make my goal. How can I get 600,000 in 2 months? I don't know. OnlyFans, right? No, and I'm not dissing on people who make that decision,
But yeah.
but maybe like OnlyFans is more legitimate actually than, you know,
Stealing from
fraud. You know,
Yeah.
like securities fraud or something.
Yeah.
Selling people things that don't actually have that value, or even promising returns to people and using that liquidity to fund something else.
Yeah.
You know, like those kinds of Ponzi schemes. Those are ideas that can flash in your mind if you are, if you take that idea of like, I need to act on this immediately.
Yeah. I totally agree with you on that. I didn't even think about that before, but that's so true. It's like, I mean, because it's like that idea of like your feelings are valid, but they aren't always true. And like sometimes, I mean, yeah, I think we have a lot of ideas sometimes that are maybe not the best idea. So I think you should also use logic to decide if that's the best decision or if that's going to hurt anybody or hurt yourself.
And then also treat it as like planting a seed, right? You can plant a seed and let it grow over the course of weeks and months and years, you know, if it's a big tree or something. All that to say, like, if it's good, and in fact, there's a scripture, an LDS scripture about this, where you plant the seed, and if you continue to nourish it and it continues to grow, then usually that shows you that it's a good seed. Now, if it grows quickly and then you get prosecuted for securities fraud, it's probably not a good seed.
Yeah.
Right? But all of that said, why are we doing this podcast? Because I had a flash of inspiration just like this, and I decided to act on it immediately.
My dad gets so excited about ideas sometimes. He was like so excited about this podcast, and then I asked him like a few days ago, "Are you ready for our podcast on Monday?" And he said, "Are we actually doing this?"
Yeah, well, yep. We'll see if we actually post these. But yeah, thanks for listening. If anybody out there is listening. Okay, here's a paragraph that I feel like directly applies to me, because when we started this podcast, I talked about my own skepticism.
Yeah.
Right. So let me read this. It's a paragraph from the auto-suggestion chapter. Skepticism in connection will... Whoa, I think that might be a misspelling. Skepticism in connection with all new ideas is characteristic of all human beings. But if you follow the instructions outlined, your skepticism will soon be replaced by belief. And this, in turn, will soon become crystallized into absolute faith. Then you will have arrived at the point where you may truly say, I am a master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. What do you think about that?
Oh, I'm not gonna lie, I forgot everything.
That's okay. It's past Megan's bedtime, right?
Yeah.
Megan's an early bird, and I'm a night owl.
Yeah.
Anyway, I would just say it's kind of absolute, but it makes me think of The Music Man. Do you remember The Music Man?
I have watched it, but it's been forever.
This guy comes to town. He's kind of a scam artist.
Oh, yeah.
He sets up a band, but doesn't actually, he skips town before actually delivering on the music training because he doesn't have a background in music.
Yeah. Okay.
But he sells them all instruments and uniforms and stuff. But this time he gets caught, right? And they put him up. His hands are tied in front of the band, and he starts waving his baton. And he uses what he calls the think system. You just think. You don't have to practice. You just think. And the music comes out.
That's a good
right?
philosophy.
And, but also we love him. This guy is the hero of the show, even though he's a scam artist. By the end of the show, the band plays. This sounds horrible, but it's still playing. And the community loves to see their young kids playing music, and they learn to love Professor Harold Hill that is scamming them. All that to say, there's this kind of whole movement of you create it through thinking it, and it becomes a reality. And I think that The Music Man kind of depicts that philosophy, and certainly Napoleon Hill is kind of espousing or putting forth that philosophy in his book. So, autosuggestion. Any last words about autosuggestion, Megan?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, join us next time, and we'll continue with the next chapter.
Awesome. Thank you for listening.